In 2011, neuroscientist Valerie Salimpour slid volunteers into a PET scanner at McGill University, injected them with a radioactive tracer, and asked them to do something unusual: listen to their favorite music. What she found shocked the scientific world. The moment these people felt chills from a song, their brains flooded with dopamine, the exact same chemical released during food, sex, and addictive drugs. It was the first time anyone had proven that something completely abstract, just vibrations in the air arranged in a pattern, could hijack the brain's most ancient reward system. This is the science of why music makes your hair stand on end.
Let's start with what Salimpour actually found, because it's wilder than it sounds. She used a technique called PET scanning to track dopamine in real time. And here's the twist. The dopamine didn't just spike once, it spiked twice in two completely different parts of the brain. During the buildup, as the music climbed toward the moment her subjects knew was coming, dopamine flooded a region called the caudate nucleus. That's the wanting center, the part that fires when you're craving something. Then, at the exact moment of the chill, the peak of the musical wave, dopamine hit the nucleus accumbens, the brain's pleasure center, the same region that lights up during an orgasm or a hit of cocaine. Two phases, two brain regions, one song. Before this study, no one had ever demonstrated that a purely abstract stimulus, not food, not sex, not drugs, but organized sound, could trigger this ancient dopamine cascade.
But why? Why would your brain reward you for hearing a chord change? The answer lies in one of the most powerful ideas in modern neuroscience: prediction error. Your brain is not a passive listener, it's a prediction machine. Every millisecond you're listening to music, your auditory cortex is running ahead of the sound, building a model of what note comes next, what chord follows, when the beat will drop. And when the music confirms your prediction, you get a small, satisfying hit of reward. But when the music violates your expectation in a way that's better than what you predicted, a sudden key change, an unexpected harmony, a voice entering where silence was expected, your nucleus accumbens fires off what neuroscientists call a positive reward prediction error. It's the brain's way of saying, "This is better than I thought. Pay attention. Remember this." A 2019 study published in PNAS confirmed it. The nucleus accumbens responds directly to these musical surprises, and the bigger the surprise, the stronger the pleasure signal. This is why a song you've never heard can stop you in your tracks, and it's also why your favorite song still gives you chills on the 100th listen, because your brain is anticipating the moment, savoring the buildup, and then being rewarded for the prediction itself.
Here's something that blew my mind when I first read it. Researchers found that chills don't actually happen at the climax of the music. They happen just before it. Your brain is so good at predicting musical structure that it starts firing the reward signal during the buildup, during the anticipation, not the arrival. Think about that. The shiver running down your spine during a crescendo isn't a reaction to what you're hearing right now. It's your brain pre-celebrating what it knows is about to come. The caudate nucleus, that wanting center, releases dopamine as the music builds, as the tension mounts, as the crescendo climbs. And by the time the chorus hits or the beat drops, the nucleus accumbens delivers the consummation, the peak. It's the exact same neural architecture that makes you salivate when you smell food cooking. Anticipation first, reward second. Your brain treats a beautiful chord progression with the same neurochemical respect it gives to survival itself.
So dopamine explains the pleasure. But what about the actual physical chills? The goosebumps, the shivers, the racing heart? That's your autonomic nervous system, specifically the sympathetic branch, the one that handles fight or flight. When a piece of music hits you hard enough, your hypothalamus activates tiny muscles called erector pili at the base of every hair follicle on your body, and they contract. That's piloerection, the fancy term for goosebumps. Your pupils dilate. Your skin conductance spikes, meaning you literally start sweating microscopically. Your heart rate increases. It's a mild, pleasurable version of the same stress response you'd get if a bear walked into the room. And this is the strange part. This system evolved to keep you alive. It's supposed to fire when you need to run from predators or fight for survival. But somehow, a violin crescendo or a perfectly placed vocal harmony can trigger it too.
Your body literally cannot tell the difference between a life-threatening situation and a really, really good song.
Not all music triggers frisson, so what separates a chill-inducing song from background noise? Researchers have identified specific musical elements that reliably trigger the response. Number 1, and this is the most consistent finding across every study, a sudden increase in loudness, a crescendo, a dynamic jump, a passage that goes from quiet to loud. That acoustic jolt is the single most reliable trigger. Number 2, unexpected harmonic changes, a sudden key shift, an unusual chord that your brain didn't predict. Number 3, the entrance of a new voice or instrument. When a solo vocal or a new instrument cuts through the texture, especially the human voice, it triggers novelty detection in your auditory cortex. And number 4, appoggiaturas, those gorgeous dissonant notes that clash briefly with the harmony before resolving. They create a tiny emotional arc of tension and release in just a few notes. But here's what ties them all together. Every single one of these triggers works by violating your brain's expectations. Louder than expected, different chord than predicted, new sound where silence was anticipated. Frisson is at its core the sound of your brain being delightfully wrong.
Now, if you've ever watched someone have an intense physical reaction to a song and thought, I don't feel that, you might be right, and it's not your fault. A 2016 study from USC found that people who regularly experience musical chills have structurally different brains. Specifically, they have denser white matter fiber connections between the superior temporal gyrus, the part of the brain that processes sound, and two key emotional regions, the insula, which bridges body sensations with emotional awareness, and the medial prefrontal cortex, which handles complex emotional processing. More fibers, more connections, more chills. Their brains have built a superhighway between hearing and feeling. And it's not just brain structure. Personality plays a role too. People who score higher on openness to experience, one of the big 5 personality traits, the trait associated with curiosity, imagination, and aesthetic sensitivity, are significantly more likely to experience frisson. Your personal history matters too. A song tied to a powerful memory, a first dance, a road trip, a moment of loss, can amplify the chill response enormously. It's not just the music, it's you meeting the music. Here's a finding that surprised even the researchers. Frisson is more easily triggered by sad music than by happy music. A study published in Nature's Scientific Reports investigated 2 types of peak emotional responses to music, chills and tears. They found that while both are intense, they're physiologically opposite. Chills activate the sympathetic nervous system. They amp you up, goosebumps, racing heart, arousal. Tears activate the parasympathetic system. They calm you down, they're cathartic. But when it came to triggering chills specifically, sad and bittersweet music outperformed upbeat music consistently. Why? One theory is that sad music creates a unique kind of tension. There's no real threat, no actual loss, so the brain can safely experience the emotion without the survival consequences. It's pleasurable sadness, a concept researchers call aesthetic emotion. Your brain gets to practice grief, longing, and melancholy in a completely safe environment, and it rewards you with dopamine for doing it. There's one more piece of this puzzle, and it's still unsolved. In 1980, neuroscientist Abram Goldstein, one of the discoverers of endorphins, ran a provocative experiment. He gave subjects naloxone, an opioid blocker, the same drug used to reverse heroin overdoses, and then played the music that normally gave them chills. His hypothesis: if you block opioid receptors, you block the chills. The result? Only 3 out of 10 subjects showed reduced chills. Inconclusive. Modern researchers tried again with naltrexone, a stronger opioid blocker. The results were complicated. Some studies showed reduced pleasure. Others showed pleasure stayed the same, but the physical arousal, the skin conductance, the goosebumps changed. The current best guess: dopamine drives the wanting, the anticipation, the prediction-reward cycle. But opioids, your brain's own endorphins, may amplify the warmth, the physical glow, the embodied pleasure of the experience. They're the difference between knowing a song is beautiful and feeling it wash through your entire body. But honestly, we're still figuring it out.
So why does any of this exist? Why would evolution wire us to get intense physical pleasure from organized sound? The honest answer is, we don't fully know. But there are 2 leading theories. The first connects frisson to an ancient fear response. Goosebumps in mammals originally made fur stand on end to appear larger against threats. Music may be tapping into that same alarm circuit, triggering a mild, repurposed version of a threat response, but one that feels exhilarating instead of terrifying. The second theory ties it to social bonding. Before complex language, rhythmic vocalizations and group singing may have been how our ancestors coordinated hunts, reinforced alliances, and built trust. Research shows that group singing increases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Rhythmic synchronization fosters cooperation. Frisson, in this view, may be the individual echo of a fundamentally communal experience, your body remembering what it felt like when music meant survival, togetherness, and belonging. Or maybe, as Steven Pinker once controversially suggested, music is just auditory cheesecake, a beautiful accident that exploits a reward system built for other purposes. Either way, the fact that vibrations in air can make a human body shiver with pleasure is one of the most extraordinary things about being alive.
So the next time a song stops you cold, the next time your arm erupts in goosebumps and a shiver races down your spine, know this. What you're feeling is a two-phase dopamine cascade in your striatum, a prediction error computed by your nucleus accumbens, a sympathetic nervous system activation triggered by your hypothalamus, filtered through white matter fiber tracts that connect your hearing to your deepest emotions, shaped by your personality, your memories, and possibly 40,000 years of evolutionary history. Or, it's just a really good song. Either way, it might be one of the most remarkable things your brain will ever do.